How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. We are at number 2. Now, I did cover a lot of information in the first video. You're going to see it linked in the top right over here. Definitely check out that video before watching this one, as this one, in terms of the actual coverage of this video, the tweets that were coming through, that we're going to be going through, that goes through the majority of that 53-page document, will be a continuation of that video. So do make sure to watch that, as it does give a bit more context. That said though, if you do find this video useful and informative and are enjoying this content, what I would like you to do is consider subscribing to my channel. We are 340 subs away from 2,000. I am looking to grow this channel quite a bit. We are going to be covering a lot of gaming news as well on this channel. I know it's been very heavily ABK centric, but I do appreciate all of your support, and hopefully you'll enjoy the content that comes after the ABK deal is officially over as well, and I hope that you'll stick around for those as well. Well, on with the actual content. So, we ended this with number 23. I'll reread number 23 just for the sake of it. There are no internal documents, emails, or chats contradicting Microsoft's stated intent not to make Call of Duty exclusive to Xbox consoles. So there is nothing there in all the documents, in all the conversations, in all the recordings that they've actually watched. And despite the completion of extensive discovery, nearly 1 million documents and 30 depositions, there has been not a single utterance of the notion of making Call of Duty exclusive to Xbox, because it doesn't make financial sense. They still want to make money, and if the games are going to go day and day on Game Pass, well, they still want to make that money from PlayStation and from PC and from cloud gaming, like GeForce Now. It is still a viable way of earning, making money. Call of Duty is a massive earner. So he goes on to say, after the merger, consumers can utilize the cloud to play on the device of choice, including it is intended on the Nintendo Switch. So will it appear on the Nintendo Switch? That's actually going to be a really, really interesting one. I think it might, for the Switch at least, appear in cloud form. But I'd love to see a Switch version, a current Switch version, not a next-gen Switch version, and see how it looks. I mean, it could be interesting. Perhaps bad for Sony, but good for Call of Duty gamers and future gamers, because it means that Call of Duty is now going to be available on more platforms to more players, and the multiplayer pool will just be more vast because the game is crossplay. Protect competition, not competitors, much less market leaders. And what does Professor Lee say about Dr. Carlton's criticism? Nothing in his direct testimony, redacted. At the evidentiary hearing on redirect, nothing, redacted. And when the FTC cross-examined Dr. Carlton on his written direct testimony, again, nothing. The FTC chose not to challenge or even address Dr. Carlton's identification of material flaws in Professor Lee's share model. Dr. Carlton did his job. His criticism of the FTC experts' methodology worked. I also noted that during the hearing, more in the space. The court accepts for preliminary injunction purposes, it is likely Call of Duty will be offered exclusively on Game Pass. So they are accepting that. They know that it's not going to be offered on PS Plus and not offered on rival subscription services. Pretty much what I just said there. So they accept this, and they don't see that being a problem. The FTC cloud gaming foreclosure argument is foreclosed by Microsoft's post-FTC complaint agreements with 5 cloud streaming providers. So the fact that the FTC was saying that they're going to make it exclusive and they were going to remove it off platforms, the fact that they made those agreements, fake or whatever they are, call them what you like, the fact that those agreements are in place prove that the FTC's notion there is also incorrect and fabricated. But the FTC's foreclosure argument is foreclosed by the facts. There it is. In sum, the FTC has not raised serious questions regarding whether the proposed merger is likely to substantially lessen competition in the console, library subscription services, or cloud gaming markets. Total disaster. Essentially, the FTC lost on all counts. They couldn't prove anything. Everything that they said was overturned, rejected, and outplayed. Because the FTC has not demonstrated a likelihood of ultimate success on the merits, the court need not proceed to the balance of equities question. Like in Meta Within, it's not even necessary. I said it probably wouldn't be, but Judge Corley does address it anyway. By pre-existing contract, Call of Duty will remain on PlayStation through the end of 2024. So they still have all the marketing rights, which Jim Ryan has told Phil Spencer that he wants to cancel that contract and not pay for the marketing rights, even though it's a legally binding contract. So hopefully, I don't think Phil should say yes to that. I think that's being unreasonable. If Microsoft is adhering to contracts to keep the game and the current contracts in place until 2024, and like they did with the Bethesda deals as well with Deathloop and Ghostwire, I think Jim Ryan should adhere and respect the contract that he signed with Activision now that it's part of Microsoft. There will be no foreclosure of Call of Duty pending the ALJ's decision. Gamers will be able to play just as they always have. A wonderful paragraph. Microsoft's acquisition of Activision has been described as the largest in tech history. It is. It deserves scrutiny. That scrutiny has paid off. Microsoft has committed in writing, in public, and in court to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation for 10 years on parity with Xbox. It made an agreement with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty to Switch, and it entered several agreements for the first time bring Activision's content to several cloud gaming services. So without this deal, none of that would have happened. None of that would have come into fruition, and it means a lot of gamers would not have had access to Call of Duty. Now, the average gamer out there, believe it or not, buys about 4 or 5 games a year. Now, that's statistically proven. I don't have the facts, but this is stuff that I always see from DPA and from stats-centric websites. It's all that is the average that people buy. And if I look at my brother, he fits into that model perfectly. I, on the other hand, am not part of that normal model. I buy way more. But statistically, the average person buys about 4 or 5 games a year. So they would have to pick and choose what games they're playing. But with Game Pass, they don't have to do that. They have more games available at an affordable rate. And so by making Activision games available to Game Pass, it just means more people are playing the games. It's a win-win situation. To the contrary of substantial lessening of competition, the record evidence points to more consumer access to Call of Duty and other Activision content. Exactly what I was saying. The motion for a preliminary injunction is therefore denied. Given the compressed time the court has to issue a written opinion in light of the impending termination date, there will likely be errors in the citations, and for the same reason, does not address every argument nor cite every piece of evidence supporting. Basically, because it was done in such a haste and the whole proceeding was done in such a rush, there's going to be a few errors that they're going to fix post-announcement. In an abundance of caution, it is overly redacted. There will be an effort now to redact it less conservatively, so we will get a new version soon that will reveal the reasoning to an even greater extent. And then he's basically saying to see him in his Twitter space, which is actually going live, so I'm probably going to go and listen to that after this video. But in the end, it is what it is, and we are in a position now where the actual draft is heavily redacted, so that was pretty much all the information, but the important stuff was there. The FTC lost on every count. Couldn't prove console harm, couldn't prove market harm, couldn't prove any definition that they tried to prove. Everything got rejected. The fact that Microsoft is contractually agreeing to keep Call of Duty, the contract that Sony has right now in place till the end of 2024, which is fine in my opinion. So no Call of Duty to any Game Pass day and date until 2025. That is a thing. But the other games should be on there because they don't have any contractual agreements. So Diablo 4 will likely come on there soon, at least for countries that's not the UK because CMA. And yeah, that's where we're at right now. It's a big win for Microsoft. It's a big win for Xbox. It's a big win for the Xbox community. And seriously, guys, I know a lot of you on Twitter right now have been sending me a lot of hateful messages. You kind of need to stop. I'm only blocking you and I'm moving on with my life. And you're not even a footnote to me. You're literally nothing. So please don't do that. It's not nice. It's not civil. And all I'm doing here is reporting the news. Well, that's it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Remain legend.